Here's a scenario. You have a disease, okay? It's terminal. And the only way to survive is you have to befriend Mike Tyson. How would you befriend him? And by the way, he can't know that the reason you're befriending him, because that would be cheating. You die immediately if you found out.
I guess maybe I'd get into boxing.
I don't think that's how.
I would get into boxing, and I would be terminally ill, so I would be by far the worst boxer, but I would just keep challenging people.
Until you got to Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson would kill you. I don't think you'd have to worry about.
Oh, right. I'd have to get in Mike Tyson's weight class. So I would gain like 300 pounds.
But keep in mind, he's done. His career is over. You'd have to build up such a reputation boxing that he would be willing to fight you. You'd have to be like a Pacquiao.
I'm no Pacquiao, especially after I gain all that weight.
I don't think it's going to work.
That's one thing people always say about me. They're like, "You're no Pacquiao, you fat piece of shit." And so it came in handy for this question, actually. I now know that about myself.
If you hadn't gained the weight, Nick, you could be a Pacquiao, but given the weight gain, you're no Pacquiao.
I'm just so fat.
You're just so fat.
For some reason, whenever I hear Mike Tyson talk, it kind of sounds like as if he's like a child. So like maybe candy or something.
You would try to lure Mike Tyson into like a van?
Yeah, with like a comically large lollipop. That's my move.
It's an interesting move. I wonder if you're Mike Tyson, you have no fear, right? Free candy.
No one's going to hurt him.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, all right, but I'm Mike Tyson, so I'll go in the van.
Yeah, I'll go in the van and maybe I'll get free candy. Maybe I'll kill this guy and get free candy.
Once Mike Tyson is there in the van, how do you become friends with Mike Tyson?
Well, that's when I pull out the Legos and the trucks. I'm prepared. It starts with the candy, and then he turns after he puts the candy in his mouth, and he turns and he just sees a bucket of Legos, and I got all the Lego sets.
Yeah, is that the Lego Death Star? Yeah, Mike, it is. And he's like, "Can I punch it?" And you're like, "No, Mike. No, Mike, can't punch the Death Star." But I want to save the day. Is that what Mike Tyson's like? I've never met him. What if I became a boxer and I called myself Mike Tyson?
Oh,
like I legally changed my name to Mike Tyson, and I suck at boxing.
But would that make him want to be friends with you, or would that just upset him?
Yeah,
I think the first step is just to get Mike in the room.
Yes, that's right. But how do you get him in a room? Do you pitch him a project that you've written that he could act in? And over time, your relationship becomes not one that's based on work, but one based on shared interest.
I'm like, Mike, it's a buddy cop movie. And he reads it. And he's like, there's very little cop stuff. It's mostly just us being buddies. I'm like, is it? I feel like the cop thing is in there. No, we're just like at the park chatting. I'm like,
I don't know, Mike. Is that how you read it?
And there's no dialogue. It just says riff friendship here.
I think it would provide you give him like a police hat. I'm like, but you get to wear the police hat. And he's like, oh, okay. And then you can do it.
I love all you need. How childlike Mike Tyson is to you, Nathan.
Who is the body of a monster. He's a freak. He never lost his innocence, but he's so violent. And that's the thing about Mike Tyson.
And that's why he's a tragic figure in some ways. Nick, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think Mike Tyson is a full-grown man. So I would start by telling him, I'd be like, look, counter to what everybody thinks, Mike, I think you're an adult human man. And he'd be like, thank you. It's nice to hear that.
Those are adult Legos he's playing with. Those aren't boy Legos. He's a big boy.
The Legos runner is incredible.
I give him like huge Legos because I'm like, I know you're an adult.
Like the Legos you see at like Legoland, the entrance. No. Mike, go crazy.
And then he starts punching him again. I'm like, you know what? Whatever you want, buddy. Because you're an adult. What would you do?
Me?
Yeah. Or would you write the script?
Well, the hardest part is getting him in a room, right? I know entertainment decently well. I would have to first attach someone else to the project that's like a star, right? I need to get like a Zendaya or a Tom Holland to sign on to the project. And then we approach Mike together, and none of us let it slip that it's because we need to become friends. And then I would befriend him at first, you guys are just making a movie together.
Right.
And, they call cut. Mike goes to his trailer and you go to yours. But one time, you break the AC in his trailer, and then he's got to he's got to come to yours. And you're hanging out.
Wouldn't he go to Zendaya's trailer?
No, because Zendaya's in on it too.
This is getting really complicated. How do you get Zendaya in on it?
The movie, it's Spider-Man 4. Mike Tyson is Spider-Man. That's what it's called. And he gets to be Spider-Man, and then Tom Holland's just a guy now.
So that's how we get Zendaya, because she's already contractually obligated. Right. And then once she goes to the bathroom, I casually throw in just, oh, what are you watching? Oh, you're watching the fight. Yeah, Alvarez he's really powerful. It's kind of crazy. And then we just get to talking. We chat about what it was like growing up with a probably violent alcoholic father, I would assume, and just guessing. And then over time, he comes to trust me and he confides in me. And by then, we've made an unbreakable bond. And sure, the movie ends, but he calls me up from time to time because I'm the only one who really, really got him.
I would say he was my dad. I would be like, I did 23andMe. Mike Tyson, you're my dad.
Oh, that's
He'd be
good.
Like, I don't think so. I'd be like, no, I see it. I think I see it. People tell me I look like Mike Tyson.
That's good, but he has to feel the friendship too. It can't be one-sided.
I would do his lisp, and I think he would find that he would like it. Something about your voice is really nice. I'd be like, you think so?
Thank you, Mike Tyson.
Would you be friends with Mike Tyson if you knew that that's how the lisp transfers just by talking to him? Yeah, would you do it?
And he's losing it. It's like, good to see you, Jamie. And you're like, you too, Mike.
No! Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
You're just adding lisps to words that don't even. Thanks, Mike. No, it's just Mike. Okay, Mike.
Alternatively, we could befriend him, I bet, by posting this and tweeting it at him every day. And eventually he'd see it and go, these guys seem really desperate, like they need a friend.
Yeah, or we could send him letters that have a mysterious white powder in them. And he thinks it's anthrax. And we tell him, Mike, it's not anthrax. It's just baby powder. And he's so relieved. And then we're like, so what are you doing later? And he's like, well, nothing. I mean, I was going to go to the hospital, but now I'm free all day. So now you got him.
That's not a bad plan, Nick.
It's all about getting him in the room. That's the hard part.
Wait, so in this movie, if Mike Tyson is Spider-Man, does he still shoot webs or does he just punch stuff in a spider suit?
He can shoot webs, but he finds he doesn't need to very often.
Okay. That's work.
And people see him in the skin-tight spider suit and then hear him talk and they're like, guys, I think Spider-Man is Mike Tyson. I mean, also, he fights like a boxer. Spider-Man keeps biting people's ears off.
Spider-Man's right hook is eerily similar to Mike Tyson.